So the New York Knicks have been in the rumor mill lately. Granted, they kind of always are, but it seems like it's been turned up a little bit because of the 2019 free agency stuff with Kyrie Irving, Jimmy Butler, Kemba Walker, DeMarcus Cousins, whoever the hell else. Throw Kevin Durant in there if you really want to, but I wouldn't picture that one happening. So the question is, are the New York Knicks really a free agent destination? Because for a long time, they've of course been a franchise run by James Dolan that was full of inconsistencies and bad moves, and the Phil Jackson years, in a way, were kind of successful because at least they led to Porzingis and Ntilikina, but they were also a bit of a mess because of the Carmelo Anthony situation and the fact that it seems like Phil was actually willing to trade Porzingis towards the end there. So it would make sense that those years they were not a free agent destination, but perhaps they are right now because Scott Perry has done a pretty good job with this team in the last year or so, putting them in a position to have some money to play with, hiring David Fizz Dale as a coach. That perhaps could lead to a good culture. You, of course, still have Porzingis. Hopefully his injury is not too much of a problem once he comes back. Could all of that say to someone like a Jimmy Butler or a Kyrie Irving, hey, if you sign here, then this can be a successful team where you can pair yourself up with Porzingis and we can do something? Well, maybe. I think the first step, besides Porzingis hopefully being healthy, is Kevin Knox really doing something in his rookie season. Maybe like a Jason Tatum-esque rookie year where it's clear from the get-go that this dude is ready to play in the NBA right now, because you just want to give yourself as much of an attractive look to free agents as possible, right? And if someone like Kyrie is looking at the Knicks and he only sees Porzingis as his potential number 2 guy, that might not be enough. But then if Kevin Knox is a real thing, then that could attract a little bit more. The great thing about Kevin Knox as well is that he's on a rookie contract for the next 4 seasons. So even if it doesn't happen this offseason, it might happen in a future offseason where he could maybe grow into this team's like second best player, and he's making like very little money. So that would be awesome. Even with Porzingis getting a max contract, with Joakim Noah's inevitable buyout and Courtney Lee and Lance Thomas's tradable contracts, this team can get themselves the cap space to really play with here, you know? And again, a lot of it helps if Kevin Knox can be pretty legit. Similar things can be said for Frank Ntilikina. His defense is a lot better than his offense right now, but perhaps he could also show to potential free agents, hey, I can help you win right now. If anything, just being like a better version of Mario Chalmers early on. So, we hope all those things go well for the Knicks. The other thing we look at is just the culture, right? So with David Fizz Dale as your head coach now, there could be a little bit of fear just because of that whole Marc Gasol thing, where I think Fizz Dale maybe gave too much of the team to Mike Conley, combined with like being a pretty hard-nosed guy who maybe clashed with Marc Gasol a little bit too much. Now that might be fine for this team because I don't care how much you like perimeter players, none of these guys should be getting the ball over Porzingis. On top of Fizz Dale just seems like a younger coach who can connect with players and help this team build up a real identity, right? And you see right now with like Jimmy Butler, the big reason why there's rumors that he doesn't want to be on the T-Wolves anymore is because Towns and Wiggins, according to Jimmy, don't really give a crap. Whereas maybe he sees the Knicks situation and he sees like Kevin Knox and Ntilikina and Tim Hardaway Jr. and whoever else, and of course Porzingis, just going like 100% every night for their head coach and playing defense and all that. Because between Ntilikina, who can be super lockdown. Kevin Knox, who has got the size and mobility, and then Porzingis, who I think his rim protection is better than his overall defense, but he's definitely a positive nonetheless. Jimmy might see that and be like, oh, hell yeah, I want to go there. But of course, we could say that maybe about Kyrie. I mean, he's a super weirdo, so we never really know. DeMarcus Cousins could see that and be okay with it. Kemba Walker could see that. Now, what doesn't help is, of course, that Porzingis is going to miss a lot of next season, and I mean, him being out there and this team maybe fighting and clawing their way to the playoffs would definitely help out their chances in all this, so that's going to hurt them. But again, even if it might not happen in this offseason, like, there's always big-name free agents. So you fast forward 2 or 3 years, and this team has managed to be like a mid-40s win team, let's say. Porzingis is really good. Fizz Dale has gotten to these guys in a positive way. Kevin Knox is as good as we think he's going to be after Summer League. Maybe that would be the time that whoever would be a free agent would sign with them. Now, these are all the positive things. Is there a chance that this could all go negatively? Yeah, I mean, we've seen head coaches just walk in and out of this Knicks situation, a lot of that being because of James Dolan. Because, I mean, I don't think anybody feels like Jeff Hornacek was necessarily bad for them. I feel like their problem was the roster was never totally right, and the whole triangle fiasco and all that. So it would be great if James Dolan was actually out of the way and he allowed Scott Perry to just do everything, but we don't know. At some point, it seems like he always kind of comes in there for some unfortunate moment. Now, there's also rumors that Dolan wants to sell the team. At least it popped up for a minute a couple weeks ago. That would be great. The other way this could go not as well is maybe Ntilikina's offensive game never really develops. Maybe Kevin Knox is not as good as we think he's going to be, or it takes a little bit longer than we think, and that just delays things by a year or two or whatever. There's a chance that, hell, Porzingis, for all that can be said about the guy, and look, I have sung Porzingis' praises like crazy, and I don't think he's ever really had the system or roster to totally go off, but he's never put in an entire season of being that great player. Like, he was on the downturn before he got injured. And then the other 2 years, Melo kept stealing the ball from him. Melo and Derrick Rose. But even then, I would definitely err on the side of Porzingis is really good. So, yeah. But we're just weighing all options, We can't just assume these things are going to go well. Because if the real life was like 2K, then everybody would be amazing. So, yeah. But nonetheless, the Knicks situation right now, I would say, is a lot better than it was 10 years ago. And how it was for a long time, where the team was loaded in salary, bad coaches, James Dolan having way too much of an influence on the on-court product, and just being a complete mess. This team at least has a good coach. It has a star player who's young and really cares. It has a bunch of young players who seem like they also really care. And, that could be a good thing. So, I think the Knicks are in an okay to potentially very good position to acquire at least one free agent, if not this offseason, next offseason, the one after that, something like that. And we just got to see if they'll do it.